I used to work the night shift at a warehouse just outside town. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid my bills. The place was huge. Rows of shelves stacked 20 feet high, humming fluorescent lights that flickered more than they should, and that constant drone of the ventilation system that made it impossible to ever hear clearly if someone else was around. There were usually 4 of us scheduled at night, but on Halloween, everyone had called out. Family stuff, parties. So it ended up being just me and my supervisor, Ron. He left around 9:30 to check in on something and never came back. He was like that, disappearing for hours, probably sleeping in his truck. That meant I was alone, responsible for a warehouse the size of a football field. I had my earbuds, a can of Red Bull, and the usual rhythm of unloading pallets. Around 11, I pulled my forklift into one of the back aisles where the lights didn't quite reach and noticed something off. The stacks of boxes weren't right. Pallets I'd moved earlier were now shifted a foot over, as if someone had been rearranging them. I chalked it up to fatigue, but then I heard it. A sound I can't describe except to say it was like nails dragging across the concrete. Long, scraping, slow. I froze, killed the forklift engine. The warehouse went dead silent except for the buzzing lights above. "Ron," I called out, even though I knew he was gone. Nothing. I thought it was probably a pallet sliding, maybe a rat. I got back to work, but every few minutes I felt it. The sense that someone was standing at the end of the aisle, just out of sight. You know when you feel eyes on you, that prickling at the back of your neck? I couldn't shake it. By midnight, I gave up pretending I wasn't freaked out. I parked the forklift, grabbed my phone flashlight, and walked toward the break room. That's when I saw it. In the reflection of the office window, something moved behind me. I spun around. Empty aisle, stacks of boxes, shadows stretching in all directions. But the reflection showed a man standing about 20 feet behind me. No uniform, no safety vest. Just a dark silhouette, tall and narrow, with a head cocked slightly to one side, like he was studying me. I told myself I'd wait it out, just ride through the shift. But around 2 a.m., I started hearing it again, that dragging sound, closer this time, then soft footsteps. They are like not walking with purpose, but just pacing up and down the aisles. I pressed my ear to the office door. The sound stopped. I froze. Whoever or whatever it was, they were standing right outside. I stayed put until my phone alarm went off at 5:30, signaling the end of my shift. By then, the noises had stopped. The warehouse was quiet. Dead quiet. I mustered the courage to run for my locker, grab my stuff, and bolt out the front door. When I got outside, the dawn light hit me, and I finally let out the breath I'd been holding. That's when I noticed something etched into the dust of my windshield. 3 words written with a finger. "See you tonight." I couldn't think any further. I quit the job the same day. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. I never told anyone what happened, never filed a report, never even told Ron. 2 weeks later, though, I heard another guy on night shift had gone missing. Vanished in the middle of his shift, his forklift left idling in the back aisle. No one ever found him. And sometimes, when I'm driving home late and past that warehouse, I swear I still see movement inside. Just a tall, narrow shape. Pacing. Halloween in our neighborhood was always the same. Kids running door to door in plastic masks, porch lights glowing like beacons, and parents lingering at the end of driveways with thermoses of coffee. Everybody knew which houses gave out the good stuff. Full-sized candy bars, caramel apples, or the little bags of chips. And everybody knew which houses to skip. The dark ones, the ones with old folks who didn't want to be bothered. But last Halloween, there was one house on Sycamore Street that nobody could explain. It was number 46. The house had been empty for years. Grass knee-high, paint peeled down to the bare wood, windows dusted over with grime. The kind of house you'd cross the street to avoid when walking your dog at night. Kids used to dare each other to step onto the porch or peek through the slats of the boarded windows. Nobody ever saw anyone move in. Nobody saw a moving truck. Nobody saw the lights. It was just abandoned. Until last Halloween night. I remember because my daughter Emily tugged on my sleeve and said, "Daddy, look, 46 has its light on." I looked up and sure enough, the porch light glowed a sickly yellow. The bulb flickered like it hadn't been used in years, buzzing faintly in the cool October air. And on the steps, there was a big orange plastic bowl. Candy. I figured maybe somebody new had moved in quietly. Maybe they didn't want to open the door, just leave the bowl out. Normal enough. But Emily, she's 10, braver than I ever was, ran straight up to the steps. When she came back, she had her little pumpkin bucket half full already. Snickers, Reese's, Kit Kats, all the good stuff. She grinned at me and said, "They said Happy Halloween." I froze. "Who?" I asked her. "The man inside," she said, chewing a Reese's right through the wrapper. He was standing by the window. I looked back. The window was dark, nobody there. I didn't like it, but it was Halloween, and we had a lot more houses to hit, so I let it go. The weird thing was, every kid in the neighborhood had the same story the next day. They had the best candy. There was a man by the window. He said, "Happy Halloween." But nobody ever actually knocked. Nobody ever saw the door open. And nobody could describe the man clearly. Some said he was tall. Some said he was hunched. One kid swore his face looked like it was wrapped in something. But they all agreed on one thing. His voice was low and muffled, like he was talking through a wall. By November 1st, the light at 46 was off again, and the house went back to being empty. This year, as Halloween crept closer, the neighborhood buzzed about it. Parents joked nervously. Maybe they'll do it again. One mom laughed, but her eyes darted away like she wasn't entirely kidding. October 31st came, and sure enough, by dusk, the light at 46 was back on. Same sickly bulb, same buzzing, same plastic bowl on the steps. But this time, I didn't let Emily run up there. Something about it knotted my stomach. I watched from the sidewalk as other kids approached. Same story. Candy piled high. And when they came back to their parents, they all whispered the same thing. He said Happy Halloween. Only this time, some of them added something else. He asked if we'd come inside. By 9 o'clock, the crowds thinned out. I stood across the street staring at that house. No kids left, just silence. And then I saw it. The bowl on the steps wasn't empty. It was full again, overflowing, like it had been refilled. But I hadn't seen anyone open the door. I hadn't seen anyone come out. The porch light flickered, and for a split second, I swear, I saw movement inside. Something pale shifting behind the window glass. I pulled Emily close and told her it was time to go home. Later that night, as I was tucking her in, she asked me something that still makes my blood run cold. "Daddy," she whispered, "why did the man say, 'See you tomorrow'?" I froze by her bed. "Emily, when did he say that?" "When I took the candy." He leaned close to the window and said it real quiet, just to me. The next morning, November 1st, I woke up to the sound of sirens. Police cars, an ambulance, parked right in front of 46. The bowl was still there, half spilled, candy scattered across the rotting steps, and the window was shattered from the inside. They never told us officially what they found in there, but I overheard enough. The cops were whispering to each other, pale-faced, refusing to step more than a few feet inside. The words I caught were walls lined with candy wrappers, rotting smell, and something in the basement. That house is dark again now, porch light gone, windows boarded tighter. But every kid in the neighborhood swears they hear it when they walk past after sunset. A man's voice, low and muffled, drifting from inside. "Happy Halloween."